Oops, go back. All right, my love, it's all you. Hello, everybody. My name is Shontay Patterson. I am with the Omiko OSU Family Medicine Residency Program in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've been a coordinator for 20 years this year. And in my spare time, I like to play with my sidekicks, aka grandbabies, and buy tennis shoes and work out. So that's a little short introduction about myself. Today, I'm going to be talking about healthy boundaries and how to set boundaries. And it's going to be more of an open discussion type things because I will be asking a little bit of questions just to kind of engage the dialogue. So feel free to jump in anytime. So I want to discuss why setting boundaries are important. Um, it can produce increased productivity, it can decrease stress, and it can also prevent burnout. So the type of workplace boundaries that you can set, there's physical boundaries, and that's how you interact with people, your personal space, like if someone's touchy-feely and you're not that type of person, emotional boundaries, how you process your emotions at work, and then your mental boundaries, your opinions, your thoughts, values, and mental energy. Does anybody right now practice any type of workplace boundaries?
Not well.
No? No? Okay. How to establish work-life balance and how to set boundaries at work. So these are just some of the things that I feel that are important, but there's tons of ways to establish this. And I'll kind of go into some of the things that I do. Setting priorities, which is a good boundary to do, especially when you've got so many people asking you to do so many things and things coming from every direction. It's important to like set a boundary of like what's a priority. Like anytime someone sends me something, the first thing I send back is when is this due? When do you want this by? So that I can know like if I need to prioritize it or not, or just put it, in the list. And if I'm going to put it in a list, I'll let them know I will put this on my to-do list, so that they'll know that I will be working on it, but I've got other things that I have to do. That's a priority. Delegating tasks. I have a 40 residents in my program, so I do have a 0.25 person. Um, and so although there's not a lot of residency things they help me with, there is a lot of miscellaneous things that they help with. Um, and so I delegate those things to them. Actually, my PD actually delegated the interview season to them. So I actually am not really involved in interviews. Um, but that's another topic, but I'm just not involved in interviews. Um, take time off. That is my Bible and word to live by is take the time off. And I wanted to ask a couple of questions regarding the time off. So, um, are any of you guys scared to take a day off or take time off?
I'm not scared, but we're a small institution. We have no coverage. So when I come back, it's almost like hard to like catch up.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Very much the same.
Same. So
Same.
I get that. However, if you take a day off, it's not going to fall apart. You may think it's going to fall apart, but it won't fall apart. Um, if you don't take any time off, you can't get your mind right. And being a coordinator and being it for this many years, there is a time where burnout is really real. Um, And so what literally is going to happen if you schedule a day off or a call off? What what's could happen? I mean, is the job going to fall apart? Is the institution going to fall apart? Is the residency program going to fall apart? Like you literally have to be in that mindset of that it will survive if you're not there for a day. And because um say if they decide to lay you off, that's not something that sometimes that's something that you know in advance. And then sometimes if they're just going to let you go, they just let you go. But when they let you go, the program is still going to function whether you're there or not. Somebody's going to step up and do something to keep that program afloat. Am I right or wrong?
You are so
So
right.
yeah, I mean, I don't, not saying like, I don't want to be thinking negatively somebody's going to get fired or anything like that. But technically, if they fire you, they're not giving you advance notice.
So for
They
me, for me, for my
go
time
ahead.
off, my issue is that I don't have an issue taking the time, but 9 out of 10 times my faculty and program directors and stuff will still text me on my days off. So I've learned to like just not respond, but it's very
Yes.
frustrating when I can't take a break from here.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that because that's the queen that's why they call me the queen because I have a solution for that. Um, Sometimes you have to take a mental health day. Like if you schedule it every quarter, um, I do one every month just about. I take off once a month. Um, because if you don't take a mental health day, it affects your attitude, your actual mental health and your physical health. Um, and the job is going to keep going. The job is going to keep going, but you have to start prioritizing yourself, which is my next thing. Um, because if you don't, nobody else will. And when you start communicating clearly and concise about your boundaries, there may be people who might not like it, but that is not their job to like it. It's you are communicating them what your boundaries are, and you're asking for them to respect your boundaries. Um, Set limits is one of the things I talk about. Establishing a clear schedule. So for me, I let everyone know, faculty, PD, my supervisor, residents, what my work hours are. I am not salaried, so I'm very clear and concise on what my work hours are. And I let them know that I will not be responding before 8 a.m. and after 4 p.m. Anything that you text me, I will respond the next day. If it's an emergency, like a dire emergency, the residents know to contact the PD if it's after hours. Um, I also do not I do not put on my out of the office that I will be checking emails periodically because I don't. When I leave work, even if it's during the week and the weekends, I do not check my emails. Um, I don't have I have the email set on my phone, but I do not have the alerts on my phone. So the only way that I could actually go look at my emails is if I actually go into the app and look at my emails. But when you're putting on your out of the office that you'll be checking emails periodically, that gives some people thinks that gives them a right to just keep emailing you and asking you things and hoping that you will see it so that then if you respond, they're going to keep doing it. Instead of saying, hey, I know she's on vacation. When my PD's on vacation, I know she's out. So she will tell to me specifically, Shontay, if you need me, just call me or send me an email. And I specifically tell her I will not because I don't want you calling and emailing me while I'm on vacation. So I'm not going to do that to you. So I go to other people when she's out. Now, if she happens to call me and ask me a question while she's on vacation, I'll answer her and we'll talk about it. But I'm not going to purposely seek out to to do that because I don't want that done to me. So those are the things that you communicate with. Um, Setting boundaries at home, that's like bringing work home. I know some people feel like they have to work after hours, they have to work at home, but when you do that, your home life will suffer. Your personal life will suffer, your home life will suffer, and then in turn, your work life will suffer. And you'll get burned out. So I know people have families and they have kids, and you don't get that time back when you are so engulfed with work at home. Um, and that I made that a priority when my son was little, as I didn't bring the work home. Now, if it's something that I absolutely just didn't get done during the day, I will do it at home, but that's very, 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 I can't remember the last time that I actually done that. Um, Not engaging in gossiping at work. I make that clear while I'm at work. I don't do the gossiping. I don't want to hear it. I'm not being rude about it. It's just that I'm there to work, get my job done, and go home. I will converse and just, hey, how you doing? Things like that. But I try to stay away from all of the gossiping and things. And I actually let my supervisor know that because I'm in an office with GME. And, when I came over to that office, I was just like, I just don't really engage in all that. Some people may view me as being standoffish or something like that, but I'm just letting you know that I just prefer to not engage in all that. Not working on vacation, I talked about that. Not sacrificing personal time for work. Um, do not check emails and messages after work, and taking on more when you work when your plate is full. I know it's hard not to do, but you're going to have to again start setting priorities and delegating tasks when it's available. Let me go to the next slide. So I have a couple of quotes that I like to always keep in my head when I'm thinking about burning out and things like that. Is you don't always have to love your job, but you need to love your life. Um, Overextending yourself does not make people appreciate you more. Um, it doesn't make you seem like you're the model employee or anything like that. All the overextending does is just burn you out. Log off and go to lunch. That's a big one. Um, Even if you go sit in your car, go sit in a closet, go sit somewhere besides your office to where you're not available. And also take your scheduled breaks. If you have two 15-minute breaks, throughout the day, take those and, go walk outside, go sit in your car, go do whatever, but try to get away from the desk and the work um, during the day. Um, Fulfilling your job responsibilities and collecting your pay and leaving on time isn't laziness. Some people feel like, if you're leaving on time that you're not dedicated to your job or things like that, and that's not the case. You get paid for a certain amount of hours. If you're hourly or if you're salary, that's different, but when that time hits 4 o'clock, you are not obligated to stay just because you think someone's going to view you as being laziness or not dedicated to your job. Never let a job steal your life. And you're 100% replaceable at work and 100% irreplaceable at home. So those are just a few of the things that I kind of implement in my life. And I'd just like to hear from everybody else, like from hearing this, can you implicate those things in your work life, or suggestions on how to incorporate that? So this is just going to be like an open discussion and Q&A.
So one of the things that I do is every year when we have our annual review and you have to put your plan in place for the following year, your professional and personal plan. My boss and I put in, and I've been doing this for years now, that I will have like one me day once a month. So I will just take off one day And I don't always succeed because, life is busy, but at least it keeps it on my radar and her radar, and we review it in May when we're going through the annual plan. And so that's something that, fortunately, my boss is really good about that. She wants us all to make sure we take time off. So I make sure that I put it in my professional plan or my personal plan for the year.
That's good. Sometimes people will brag about how, like, I have 300 and something vacation hours, blah, blah, blah. That is really nothing to brag about. You shouldn't have to zero out your vacation, but just hoarding up that vacation because you're just scared to take off or you think everything's going to fall apart. Um, that's um, unhealthy boundaries.
I used to have a lot of those.
Yeah, I'm off every year, 2 weeks for Christmas, and the program still runs. Now I come back to emails and things like that, but most of the time I don't come back to a lot of emails because everybody else is kind of taken off during Christmas as well. So I don't have a ton of emails, but the program still runs. I was out for 8 weeks with shoulder surgery. Um, the program still ran. So if you're very, very good at your job and you have it running like a well-oiled machine, it will survive if you take off a couple of days.
I'm going to play devil's advocate because I have zero boundaries.
We're working on you, Becky. We're working on
I
you.
have no boundaries, but I will also tell you that sometimes it's okay if you choose to not have the boundaries, as long as you're still taking care of yourself. I mean, I do work sometimes at home, but it's my choice. I can always choose not to. If somebody reaches out to me, I'm on salaried, I'm on call. The way my program works is I am in control of the schedules, all of that stuff. So when I took this job, I knew that I was in for that. I agreed to that. So I still take my time. I still take my vacation. I still, don't answer the phone if I'm in the middle of something and somebody calls, but they all know not to call me unless it's like really urgent or emergent, a call in, something like that. Nobody's calling me just to shoot the crap with me, during the evenings or whatever. So if my phone rings, I know it's something important. Um, I do have a hard time taking time off, but it's a personal issue. Being at home is not restful for me. I have other things that are going on in my home life that don't make it restful for me. So this is my getaway, being at work where I have things under control and I can close my door and say I'm in a meeting and nobody bothers me. And I mean, I'm not always necessarily working on work, but that is my time. So it's okay for those of you that choose to not have certain boundaries. Don't feel like you're being shamed, because I truly believe that Shontay has the absolute best boundaries. I just can't figure out how to set them and still feel like I'm giving my best at my job. So I'm working on it. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, no, and no, by any means, this is not to shame at all. I've just been at this job for 20 years and
Yeah,
I've reached a burnout point really, really bad. And it was really bad. So I just had to start implementing those because it could have cost me my job, actually.
100%.
So, and Becky, maybe when you take the day off that you could just go do something for yourself and not necessarily go home, you know?
I would love to, but it's not how that works.
Go sit at Panera
Ah,
and get a coffee. And I mean, you could even work from there if you wanted to, but just, go and do something for yourself. Um, you don't have to, there's all the ways you can take mental health days and be off, but I just feel like us as coordinators, we answer to a whole lot of people, and there's a whole lot of personalities um, involved every single day that we deal with, and it's hard to juggle all that. It's hard, and you know, some people don't have bad intentions, but they're just throwing things at you like 100 miles an hour, and nobody's asking if you're okay. How you doing? Are you able to handle this workload? Is this going to be too big of a task? Do we need to bring someone in to help you? Things like that. Like if you're not going to advocate for yourself, um, you will start getting burned out. I
Well,
had to tell them like, listen, I had 3 projects. My PD was throwing a project at me. It was web ads was due. The hospital administration was throwing a project at me, and I finally had to reach out to my boss, and she was like, "Hey, we have a person over here that can actually help you. So if you would throw that project their way and let them help you." And I did, and I didn't hesitate. I didn't say, oh, well, that's not their job. I don't want to bother them. I was like,
sure.
absolutely. They can take this, and so that I can focus on this thing here. So again, when you have, you know, GME supervisor, your PD, the residents need something, like I have to take a day. Like I have to take a day. And if it's nothing but sitting in my house and binge watching, like it just has to be a day where I'm not working. I don't feel guilty because I remember when I first started taking off, I would still check my emails and still respond, and because I didn't want them to think that I didn't care about my job. Like I just had this anxious feeling about taking off, and um, I'd say within the last 10 years, I had to get rid of that guilt. I just had to, because it was literally eating me up. And me responding on my day off does not show anybody how dedicated I am to my job. My work speaks for itself. Like I'm dedicated to my job. I do what I do. But me responding wasn't showing them that I was going the extra mile or the extra effort or anything like that. It was just burning myself out, like literally. So I had to start blocking the noise. I had to stop putting on my email out of the office that I will respond. I will have limited access to my email, or I will have access to my email. I will respond, da 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 da. Like I always put, I will have no access to emails, so that they're not expecting me to answer to an email, or expecting me to look at my email. Because most people, when you do that, they're expecting you to look at that email, and then you're going to end up responding. You know what I mean? So these are just things, like I said at the very beginning, that I have put in place for myself, and just ideas for people. And I understand it's very hard for some people to do that because it's just not in their personality to do some of those things. But you just don't want to get to the point of burnout, because once you get there, you're already there, and it's hard to get out of it.
I also feel like if you set boundaries and then you go back on your boundaries, it kind of tells them that you don't even respect your own boundaries, right? So then they start to
Yes.
disrespect you more. So I mean, like if you're gonna do it, do it. Don't do it halfway. Um, like it doesn't matter what I do. I took off for colonoscopy last week. Do you want to know that the only person that contacted me while I was off for my colonoscopy was my PD? And I was like, you are the one that approved me to take this time off. We even canceled like interviews so that I could go and have this test. And like, here he is trying to call me while I'm under anesthesia. And I'm like, oh my Lord. So yeah, we had to have a nice little talk when I got back, because I was like, why would you even contact me? He's like, it was just a knee-jerk reaction. He's like, when I have a question, I just reach out. And I was like, well, like, thank God I don't do that for you when you're off. So, I mean,
Yeah, but
again,
like
like,
my PD will ask, well, if she's texting me something that's urgent after hours, her first thing in her text message is, I know this is after hours, I'm sorry. And then she'll ask me the question. Or it may not be, it may be a personal thing and she'll say, hey, this isn't work related. So that I can respond. Because if it's work related, I probably wasn't gonna respond or whatever. But you're 100% right. Because once you start letting them overstep those boundaries that you set, they're just gonna ignore it. And they're gonna be like, oh, well, she's gonna respond anyway. So let me go ahead and, you know, send this text message. I mean, I had a resident text me Saturday morning at 7:30 about how to log duty hours. And on Monday morning, I sent him a message back and I said, this text message that you sent me at 7 o'clock on Saturday, I did not respond because those are not my work hours. And that was not an emergency. That could have waited till Monday. And they're like, oh yeah, like, oh yeah. Like I said, do you want me to call you on the weekends when you're off? Asking you to log your duty hours?
No, but like
No, I'll wait
11:30
till
on a
Monday.
post call day. 11:30 on a post call day, when they're just drifting off to sleep. That would be the perfect time to go ahead and send them a message about why they didn't do their duty hours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm a little bit like Becky. I don't have as great boundaries, but I have learned over the years to have some. I am always available, but I am salaried. So there's that. But I don't work at home unless I absolutely have to. I am really bad about not checking Teams if I see that little red number on my phone. Or so I don't have that on my Outlook, but I do have it on my Teams. But I will be called out by my team if I start answering Teams messages while I'm off. They will yell at me. So they are helping me to keep my boundaries for the days that I am off.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. And my residents and faculty will not contact me if it's after work hours or if I'm on PTO. If what you call it, unless it's an emergency. I mean, a couple of years ago, I was gone for PTO and we were doing interviews and I was gone for the interview week, had everything set up, and then something went to pot, like people got sick or whatever. And they actually figured it out without even calling me. Like I didn't even know there was an issue until I got back to the office that following
See,
Monday.
I'm telling you, it's possible. Like I'm telling you, I have one PD and 3 associate PDs. Like I should be the last. If it's an emergency, I should be really the last person because there's 4 of you guys that could
Sam,
answer
were
this
you mad
question.
that you didn't know there was a problem because nobody called you?
I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute. Why didn't you call me? I could have helped. And they were like, we got it figured out. You were on PTO and you don't ever take time. So go. And
Nope.
I wasn't super mad, but I was like, oh.
They don't need me anymore. Yeah, that's how I feel.
One thing
Yes.
that I try to keep in mind, because I had to work on this myself, is the boundary setting should come from us, right? But the person who's either texting or emailing, that might be the only time that they have available to think about that task or to ask you that question before they get sidetracked, right? But it's your choice to respond or not respond. And I think that the boundary that you set for not responding, if that's your decision, speaks better, I would suppose, than them us thinking that they're ignoring that you're on PTO, right? Like, because they might not even remember. I mean, I don't, sometimes the residents will say to me, well, I was on vacation, right? And I'm like, maybe. I mean, there's 42 of you. Do you think I keep all of that, in my brain, that who's on vacation when? It's like, unless I'm looking at the actual schedule, like I don't remember who's on vacation because there's too many of you and just one of me. So
Well, I had a PD that did that. I had a PD that soon as it came across her mind, she would send me a text message. And after like several conversations, then she started sending emails. I told her, I said, just put it in the email. I'll read it the next morning. This is causing me anxiety. when you're texting me, after hours, and there's nothing really I can do about it but read it and then start thinking about it all night about what I got to do when I get to work. And I said, so if this is the only time when you sit down at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. and all these things come to your head, just put it in an email. I will read it the next morning. And so that
And-
was our thing to do.
And also email is easier to track versus a text message, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
like you can turn into a task versus getting it via text message and then you have to remember the next day.
Right. Yeah, my residents have a bad habit about sending me text messages, and I'll respond, put it in the email. I don't even read it. I just like put it in the email because I will probably forget that and not even look back at it. And, you know, that's not our official form of communication anyways. Email is. So, but I tell my residents on the first day of orientation as well what my work hours are, and that I do not respond after this time and I don't respond before this time. And if it's an emergency, you can contact, if you can put emergency in the text message, and then, I can read it or whatever, or you can contact the PD. But I let them know on day one about that, because I was like, I would not purposely text you on or call you on your vacation. But I have 40
So,
residents as well, so it's kind of hard to keep up with that too.
so I also, before I go out on PTO, I send an email to my clinic and to my residency, letting them know when I'm not going to be here, and if I am unavailable, like I am out of state and with family and not just taking a me day or whatever, anything generally, I say I am either available or unavailable during these times for emergencies, and if not, who to contact in case of emergency. So, and then I put that, well, the out of office message I put it in the chat, which is basically, I'm out. I'm not going to be reading messages. I'll check everything when I get back. But for my clinic and my peoples, I let them know, one, if I am unavailable completely, then I let them know that. And if I'm mostly unavailable but available for emergencies, I let them know that as well before I leave.
Mm-hmm. I had to stop over explaining, and I'm going to elaborate on that. Like if I was taking had a doctor's appointment and I needed to go get this done, or, I was going on vacation, I was doing this, like I'm just out. There's no need for explanation, you know, not actually from an HR standpoint, they're not asking you why you're off, right? You're just off. And so I had to learn that when I first started, I felt like I had to over explain why I was taking off and what I needed to do. And really you don't have to do that. That's just that was another form of guilt for me. Like I was feeling guilty. So I just felt like I had to, I was feeling guilty about taking off. So I felt like I had to over explain why I was taking off. And I don't have to explain why I'm taking off. Like I have worked for PTO. I've earned the PTO. And I've earned my sick time. So if I need to be off, I'm just, I'm just off. Like, and if someone's asking you why you're being off, that's kind of overstepping a little bit. Because if you have the time off and it's not interrupting anything like that, like you shouldn't have to explain what you're doing on your time off. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't explain what I'm doing. I just literally let them know, one, I am available for emergencies, or two, I am not.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good boundary. Very good one. Anybody else? I'd like to hear from a lot of people. Or how going forward will you implement some boundaries if you're going to implement any?
Well, I guess I could add to that. A few years ago, I was the same way, Shontay, when I first started. And then once you get into this about 10 or 15 years in, you have a little more confidence, then it's easier to set some boundaries, I think. But one of the things that I did for me was that I signed a waiver that I declined to take lunch every day because it was working out better for me to leave at 4 or 3:30 every day and go with my kids to games and things like that. That meant more to me than having the hour lunch off. And I would always get interrupted when I was at lunch anyway, and I thought, this is pointless. It's like this ongoing battle. Instead of being frustrated, how about if I just stop taking lunch and leave early every day, leave, work just a full 8 and then go home. And they were fine with that. So that's what I do now, and it works for me, and I get to go home, a little earlier before it gets dark. And
It's good that they're flexible
yeah,
because some places aren't as flexible.
right. And I think too, it depends like who your administrator or your supervisor is, and if you feel comfortable advocating for yourself in a way. I think a lot of times they come in and they don't know what we do.
Hmm.
And so it takes a little bit to kind of develop a relationship with them where you can say, this is all of the things that I take care of, not just for the program, but here in the clinic, it affects this and this and this. And then they're like, oh, well, you're actually part of the admin team, aren't you? Like, yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah,
And if the doctors can take off, if your PD can take off all the time,
right,
then I
exactly.
mean, you can as well,
Yeah,
So that's how I had to start looking at it because, like I said, I was the worst when I first started. Like I was scared to take off because I just thought that made it seem like I didn't really want it to work, or that I didn't value my job or something like that if I was taking off all the time. And so I just worked and worked and worked and worked and worked and worked. And it was just like, okay, why am I feeling guilty about taking 4 days off? Why am I feeling guilty about taking two
yeah.
days off?
And
You
there's only
know,
certain times you can really take time off where you're not going to get super behind. So
yeah.
I would take it. Yeah. For anybody who's especially brand new, like plan your time off and take it, even if it's just to be home and relax and do what you want to do for the day. Like, do it. You'll be glad you did.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I am grateful for my job. They were very flexible with my hours. Um, my son ended up, he played every sport imaginable, and I was able to make every event. Um, Even in his college days when he played basketball, I was able to take off and travel with the teams and be there to support him. So my job has been very, very, very flexible um, in that aspect. And that's when me taking off didn't bother me quite as much, just because, I was like, hey, I'm doing my work when I'm here, and when I'm not here, I, am going to be spending time with my son because you don't get that time back.
Right.
Trust me, you don't get it back. And, you don't want your family and kids to start resenting, you. And so you have to find that balance between the work and the personal.
Yeah. And I utilize my chief residents. I have 3 chiefs. And so if I have to be off for a little bit and I'm not going to be available, I just make sure all 3 of them know that they may get in more calls than normal or texts because I'm not going to be responding. And they honor that too. They don't bother me, and they try to take care of things. And I come back, usually I have a lot of post-it notes on the door, oh, I did this or I did that, or I had Kathy order this or order that, and so that I know, but you
Yeah,
don't really
good.
know what they're capable of until you tell them, hey, I need
Right.
y'all to take care of this stuff for me.
I know. Anybody else? We have a lot of quiet people on here. I'd like to hear from some people.
So I've been a part of residency for many, many moons, from a previous residency to now. I really never had the help, so I always was stuck making sure that I could not. I feel like every time I did take off, um, they still like others said, I was still getting the phone calls, still getting the text message. Even when COVID happened, they thought that I could work from home. That happened and lasted for a day. and then I had to come back into the office, but I did like have certain office hours. And now I've been at this current location for about a year and a half. And I couldn't take off even when I was like admitted into a hospital for a week. Still, like you guys know I'm in the hospital. You guys cannot, they kept calling and texting. I have two APDs, and finally one kicked in, was like, nope, so she started like knocking things out and realizing you guys can't keep bothering her.
Oh,
But then
wow.
finally, the grace of glory, my director got me an assistant. Woo! And
Yay!
now I'm taking this afternoon off. So
Yay! Even better.
so it's exciting that and I'm not a big program. I came from 30 residents, so now I'm only at 18, so that's a win too. But it's also a new program, so they're used to being really spoiled at every little thing possible, to where I'm just kind of breaking them out of a lot of routines from the year when it first, especially the PGY3s, I guess, to where when I wasn't here their first year, they got super spoiled, where now it's like, no, we're grown-ups here, get
Mhm.
it together. And so it's exciting, but I definitely have to set my boundaries as well, learning how to not respond to my text messages, especially when I'm away.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I hate that happened to you. That's awful.
Yeah, it was a rough patch, but my director was like, she was on top of it. She made sure people would need to stop. And then finally my associate program director like jumped in, and I think she realized it was like, you guys, no, it's not even that serious. Like, we have to help out. And that was before I even had chiefs. So now that I have chiefs, they're also able to step in and jump in and help out as well. So
Cool.
I'm blessed, and I got a great program.
Oh, I'm happy for you. So anybody else? We have like 10 minutes. If not, I guess we can go on about our days.
So I'll just say, I'm really terrible at boundaries, like very bad, and I have been burnt out to a crisp. So I've been trying to like set more boundaries. And for me, like my struggle is that I had to actually have my GME manager step in and like explain to my PD that like nothing's gonna happen. Like I need to be able to take time off and like not be messaged, because what was happening with me is like I would get messages, I would ignore them, and then I would be like reported that I'm not accessible. So like I actually had to like go to the GME central office and like ask for help with like communication and how this is like a requirement of my time off, regarding my faculty. The residents, I actually have an issue with I have a problem. I need to like be better at respecting my own boundaries with them. But there was a lot of issues with like, um, there was a lot of issues where a faculty would message me when I'm on my day off, I'd ignore it, and then they would talk bad to the residents about me. So
Oh my
my
gosh.
my GME person had to like kind of step in and say like this is not acceptable. But that's why I feel like I struggle with boundaries now, because I'm so um like scared of that happening again, and having to be put to the table and have to defend myself. So that's just my small take.
Is HR involved in there?
No, they were not. Nobody brought them in.
Was this faculty member an old resident that had graduated and came back as faculty?
Nope, this person is my program director, unfortunately.
Oh
Oh my
my
gosh.
God. Girl.
Yeah, I was at risk for my job for like a year. It was every other month I had to go in and like defend what I was doing.
Shame.
Jeez.
I'm sorry you're going through that. That's rough.
I will
That's
say
trauma right there.
yeah, and I will say the program director did not have extensive experience in a GME program, so it was kind of a learning curve for her as well. And like I'm in a much better place. I actually had to have like a sit down and be like, what's your boundary? What's my boundary? And like talk about it, which was very difficult. And we're in a lot better place now, but it was hard, you know?
I don't feel like that was a boundary issue though. I feel like that was just like a why are you not being a good human being person? Like respecting somebody and making them feel like they matter doesn't take any special training.
And first of all, your time, if you've earned your time off, they can't, there's a certain fine line of dictating why are you taking it. Like that's like an HR thing.
Yeah.
Even if the person didn't have GME prior experience, right? Time off, it's sort of a normal thing in a job. And if it's approved for you to take it, nobody should have the authority to say otherwise if it's
Especially if they're the
approved.
ones approving the time off.
Yeah. So, learning to be respectful of my own boundaries has been kind of a learning curve, you know?
Well, if you need help with your boundaries, you can call Shontay. But if
And
you
like,
need somebody to give you a virtual hug, you should call me
yeah,
Okay, got it.
because she
yeah,
doesn't
Becky's the
like
hugger.
hugs.
I don't do hugs, yeah. Or you could do like Lisa Ann and like put it in your plan.
Oh, like your annual, this is
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
what my plan is for the upcoming year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if all else fails, right, just document these things,
Yeah.
right? Because like you have to protect yourself whether or not you had the conversation with the person who's causing the problem and have it documented somehow, even if you email it to yourself that you made these requests, they were approved, and somehow the person forgot or whatever it is, right? Like have the open communication so you have something to back yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
I would make it, if you're going to go that route, make it as factual as possible. Like I was on PTO this day. This person called at this time. I did not respond. I came back in on this day, was called to the floor at this time. Things like that. You keep it factual because they can't contest facts. If you have
Right.
PTO, when it was requested, when it was approved, start keeping a spreadsheet if it gets that way. That's what I would do. But I'm a spreadsheet girl, so
Queen.
there's that. I love
Yes.
spreadsheets. I
Well,
love me
thank
some
you
spreadsheets.
guys. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to talk about this. Again, these were more of my ways that I've set boundaries, and a lot of it came from the internet, researching and things like that. So you can take what you can from it, or don't take anything from it. But my goal and my hope is that you take a little bit from it and start prioritizing yourself.
It's going on my plan for next year, Shontay. You gotta hold me to it.
You know I will.
It'll never happen.
Says my
Yes, baby
assistant.
steps. Baby
It'll
steps.
it'll never happen. I can guarantee it, Shontay. It'll
I
never
have
happen.
faith in her. I have faith in
So
her.
do I, but it'll still never happen.
Yeah, we're gonna do baby steps.
It's been 9 years. It's still not happening.
All
Well,
right,
y'all-
guys. Thanks so much. Don't
Bye,
forget
guys.
to register for RAD and RLS. Unless you're going for a scholarship, then don't register for RAD. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Shontay.